Welcome, everyone. Good to see you all. It's Career Happy Hour, whether you can believe that or not. It's Friday, and it's the 4th of June, 2021. This is Andrew Beach. I'm a teacher of self-education. I help professionals like you communicate your value to find great opportunities faster, whether you're working or not. That's through a pragmatic process of branding, planning, and effective networking. We've helped people actually double their salaries inside of 90 days. Shocking, I know. So if you would please let me know where you're joining from. Let me get into the system here and make sure that we're live. Good, that's already set. It looks like we're live. Let's see who's here. Okay. Hey, let me know where you're joining from in the chat, or even better, put your LinkedIn profile in the chat. That allows people to do a couple things. This is a community, by the way. I come here, a career happy hour. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, they say. It's 3 o'clock on the West Coast, 3 o'clock Pacific time. What is that? 6 o'clock Eastern time. It's happy hour. It's Friday. It's a time to unwind, consider what we've done during the week and how well we've performed, and to prep really for next week. Next week is always good to plan on a Friday prior, or even more in advance. So if you have a long-term plan that way, that's great. A lot of things on my mind this week that we talk a little bit about here. At least my word for the year was fundamentals, and there's something that's coming up this week that I think I'd like to share with you all, and that is there's still a fair amount of noise in the marketplace about what's happening, about what's not happening. And I think sometimes we just need to shut all of those voices off, hit the mute button, and decide for ourselves what's going on for us, because we can hear things that are going on in the marketplace, but that may not be our truth. So be cautious of that. Certainly, if you have any questions, I encourage you to put those in the chat. If you prefer, there is a link in the description, regardless of which platform you're on. It could be you're on YouTube or Periscope or Facebook, or more often than not, people are here on LinkedIn. And if you want to come into the private chat, you can do that. It's completely confidential. So if you prefer to do that, just click the link in the description. You can come into the private chat and just put any questions you have in that chat. Leave it, maybe don't put your name in if you don't want me to see your name. Of course, that would work. Hey, Leif, good to see you. Good. Thank you, Leif, for making yourself available. By putting your link in the chat, what Leif is doing there is he's saying, I am open to network with anyone who also is interested. Click on my profile, check me out. If you ask me for a conversation, I'll probably say yes. So make sure that if you do reach out to Leif, that you reference the fact that you heard about him on Career Happy Hour. That's what this is, Career Happy Hour. So good. Put your profile in the chat. Put any questions you have in the chat. I'm here to answer questions about what? Anything related to career, really. Maybe even leadership. That's something I know a little bit about. Things about learning, training and development, customer client experience. I've got a multitude of experiences. And if you have a question regarding your career, whether it's interviewing, market planning, networking, LinkedIn, I think I'm pretty good at the LinkedIn stuff. So if you have questions about LinkedIn, I'd be happy to answer that as well. LinkedIn has added some new features, and they're rolling them out, doing rolling updates. I haven't seen the video intro yet. The orange profile frame has not come out yet. And by the way, if you want to, and you're up for it, you can certainly click the link in the description to come on for free live coaching. We'll do a private chat, completely confidential. And if you want to come on live, you certainly can do so. I'm happy to provide you free coaching for what it's worth. So, regardless of the platform we're on, you should see a link in there to do that. It'll bring you into Restream. Restream will offer you the access to the private chat, and you can say yes or no, I don't want to come on, or you could even remove your name from the chat. I think it allows you to do that. Just put in anonymous. Anyway, good. And of course, if you know somebody, get the Yeah, I guess it's pizza day. I was just talking to somebody else that's making pizza, so I don't know what it is, but maybe June 4th, 2021 is pizza day. Is it International Pizza Day? Let me ask Siri. Siri, when is International Pizza Day?
Here's what I found.
It's February 9th. We already missed it. I'm sorry. We missed pizza day. Anyhow, so today is a good day. Got an offer letter. Leif, congratulations. That's awesome. I know it's always feels good when you reach a conclusion, right? A closure, that the loop that was open, it seems like irritatingly long, is now closed. But that doesn't mean it's over. What it does mean is that there's a new beginning somewhere. Every time there's an ending, there's a beginning. And often we ignore, or perhaps don't participate in finding out what is next. What is the beginning that happens now? And so I give some thought to that. Give some thought to what do you feel is next for you? Now, you don't have to answer that in the chat. You can just answer that to yourself. Is that there's a lot that you can do to start planning the next move. And for some of us, that's maybe a bridge to retirement. For others, it's want to start my own business. For others, it's whatever you really want it to be. You get to decide. So good. Okay. If you have any questions, certainly put those in the chat. I want to answer some of your questions. If you want some live coaching, you can do that as well. But there are a lot of voices in the marketplace today. And some of those voices, I think, are talking about job growth. So the news I saw, at least on LinkedIn, was that U.S. job growth was expected to be higher than it actually was, but it was still accelerating. So, I mean, so you go to one pundit and they say, oh, we missed the number. And the other ones are like, hey, it's growing. So I don't know what it is for you, but I think we can each decide for ourselves how it's working out for us. And whether we believe what's happening in the marketplace or not, we still have activities that we can participate in to be successful, regardless of the marketplace we're presented. And those are the same things that we talk about here every Friday. And that is connecting with people, having conversation, finding out what the next step is. And the next step for many of those conversations is meeting another person, is maybe taking a piece of advice and using it on our situation, seeing if we get results. And if we do, we thank that person. So there's always sometimes networking feels like a circle. You're just going in circles, but I can assure you every effort may be elevating, right? So it's more like what do they call it? A helix. So from the top, if you saw a helix from the top, it would just look like a circle. But when you see a helix from the side, it's going somewhere. And every activity that you participate in as a job-seeking professional, reaching out to people, making applications, preparing for interviews, is not wasted. It's never wasted. It just isn't maybe directly connected to an outcome yet. It's working in advance of payment. It's kind of like 100% commission sales or planting seeds. I mean, we use that metaphor here quite a bit. But the idea is every effort has energy attached to it, and every energy is going to lead to an equal or opposite reaction. But that opposite reaction might take you in the direction you want to go. So anyway, I pontificate occasionally. So if you have questions, certainly put those in the chat. Happy to answer. So take an opportunity, regardless of the market you're presented, whether it's up, whether it's down, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether one industry's in or one industry's out, there's still industry. There's still opportunity. It's up to us to decide what does that look like and to curate our own inspired future. What is your own inspired future? I mean, many of us haven't maybe even given that consideration past next Tuesday or a month from now, or, if that a year from now. We're so, and that has a lot of reasons for it. It could be complacency, right? It could be doubt, insecurity. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be preventing us, self-created, of course, preventing us from moving forward and seeing an inspired future. So anyone for a Big Musk? Interesting. Let's see what Big Musk has to say. By the way, you're right. I did. I'm not an imposter. I did shave off the goatee. So, I mean, maybe you guys let me know what you think about a goatee-less interaction on the career happy hour. Anyway, so it says here, Elon Musk has spent years musing on Twitter about potentially opening a diner in California. Interesting. Now the billionaire is formally looking to bring his singular vision to the culinary world. That's frightening. Just saying. Musk's Tesla Group has filed applications with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office for the use of its logos in restaurant services, pop-up restaurant services, self-service restaurant services, and takeout restaurant services. While industry experts speculate the company is merely plotting to add food and drink service options to its charging stations, pundits are beginning to ruminate on what an eccentric Musk-led take on Shake Shack or In-N-Out Burger would look like. Well, I don't really like either of those options, to be honest. And I'm not sure he has anything to offer that's unique, but maybe he does. I don't know. Maybe he's looking to differentiate. How would you say? Spread his risk. Well, I mean, honestly, though, the way that the restaurant business is going at the moment, there's a lot of companies have gone out of business. This might actually be the exact time to get into the business, especially if you can attract people to your brand. And Tesla has been known for building a brand that's loyal. That you do have to say. Airlines say bye-bye to booze. Are you kidding me? Let's see. Unruly behavior. Things have gotten so bad. American Airlines, United, and Southwest are curbing alcohol on their flights. What? The service updates are part due. A Southwest passenger who was caught on video last week punching a flight attendant. Oh, wow. The steps we will take to mitigate people's emotions. Interesting. I don't know if I have an opinion on that one. Why we're running out of everything. Supply chain. Duh. I mean, here's the thing. We had shut down a lot of businesses for several months. You didn't think that was going to impact or have an echo boom in the supply chain? Of course it is. Once you run through whatever inventory you have in your warehouse, there's going to be a hiccup. So those people who had inventory, backstock, backfilled, and now there's a gap. There's an echo boom in the supply chain. So it says here, the decades that the massive behemoths, I don't like that word, that fuel the global economy spent refining supply lines, solidifying shipping routes, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I'm not going to read through that one. Let's see. Twitter debuts a paid service. Who would actually pay for Twitter? Just saying. Let me know in the chat if you'd pay for Twitter. Twitter's launching a paid model in Canada and Australia, offering subscribers the option to do things like undo a tweet. That's interesting. Let's see. After okay, Twitter Blue will cost $3.49 a month in Canada, with the company saying it will monitor feedback. I guess it's worthy of a trial, I suppose. Let's see. Good news. COVID cases keep falling. That's excellent. What is your career journey? Here's something we may want to focus on. Hey, maybe I'll share my screen. That sound okay to everybody? Hopefully it does. Share. Awesome. So let's see what we have here. What is your career journey? Let's see. Looks like too often in careers and in life, the goal becomes the object of focus and fascination to the detriment of the journey that's shaping you as a worker and as a person. That's something that a lot of people have realized the last year and a half. And some people are having positive responses to a pandemic and work from home and all the things that have been going on. And other people are having it as an awakening, an opportunity to work from home was a Zen activity. So for some, it's good. For others, it's not. And so let's see. A recent post by a LinkedIn member reminds readers that despite rejection, despite setbacks, and despite successes, a career should be looked at as a long journey rather than as a narrowly focused outcome. You know, I partially agree with that. I don't think we can hold any belief as gospel. However, I wouldn't change who I am or what I'm good at just because I'm facing rejection or setbacks or lack of success. Let's see. Read the post below and leave a comment about your own journey. All right. Let's see. Maybe this is the ear wall. So here's another thing to notice, folks. If you have a post that's getting a lot of traction on LinkedIn, they will put it into the news feed. I find that really exciting. So if you have something that's good, that's great. But not shocking that a person from Microsoft which actually owns LinkedIn as a platform, is positioning Microsoft posts on this platform. So that doesn't surprise me. So it goes through his career journey and shows a picture. Interesting. Oh, so he just came on board to Microsoft. So that's an interesting question. But what is the journey that you're on? I mean, I look at it as more like milestones, and this graphic is actually a pretty apropos one. Is you can see these different milestones as you're climbing the mountain. And what is it? Zig Ziglar always used to say that no one ever climbed a smooth mountain. Could you imagine a smooth mountain and you wouldn't be able to ascend it? You would just slide right off. Mountains have to have crevices and footholds and places to actually get leverage to move up in your career. Now, moving up doesn't mean always attaining a higher title or a higher standing. It does mean becoming more aligned to your ideal. What do I mean by that? Well, I think each of us understands what an ideal role or title or company would look like, and we should actively manage this ideal. Hi, Teresa, good to see you. And by managing this ideal, what are we really saying? Well, what we're saying is that I am engaged in knowing what is right for me, and my pursuit is going to be in alignment with what I feel is ideal for me. Now, that's ideal in terms of the work you're doing, the people you're working with, the leader you have, the environment you're working in, the company you're working for. It has all of those components to it. So that's the planning phase, and a lot of the people I coach, we talk about that. We talk about the planning phase. So there's the branding, the planning, and the execution, which is effective networking. And it's a 3-step process. It's not complicated. It does take hard work, I will admit. Meeting people is a lot of work because not everybody will say yes, and not everybody will be helpful. And the ones you expect to help may not, and the ones that you never thought would actually will. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. It's a mystery why some of the people closest to me, didn't help me. Anyhow, so let's make this. Let's see. Can I do that? There we go. Twitter, COVID-19. What's your career journey? Yeah, how cannabis won the pandemic. Well, I can tell you in Oregon, just because I live here, I know that they had a huge increase in sales. I think they did $1 billion in Oregon last year. So, I mean, it's something to think about. Let's see what we have here. Legal cannabis sales in the U.S. soared the pandemic, passing $17.5 billion in 2020, a 46% jump. Well, I mean, so the other part of this, and we talked about this several months ago, is the pre-employment drug screen. So even though this may be legal in your state and you could go get it and utilize this substance, it also means that you may get pulled out for a drug test. And so just be aware of that, whether you're working in a company that does that random drug testing, or you're looking at a pre-employment drug screen. Some companies have that as a requirement. And one of those is any contractors with the U.S. government or U.S. government jobs, which makes sense. The challenge for an industry navigating lockdowns, along with a thicket of diversion state and local ordinances, was how to get their product to their customers. So legal dispensaries swiftly ramped up online ordering infrastructure and focused on curbside pickups, and sales soared. Interesting. Amazon's latest company announces supports proposed U.S. legislation to legalize cannabis at the federal level. Of course, who do you think is going to distribute that? It makes total sense to me that they'd want to be on board for that. And so I don't know why else would they want to do that? Is Supersonic Travel back? What in the what? Let's see. No, that's not the one I want. What happened? Supersonic Travel. Is it back? Let's see. Betting customers will pay up for Supersonic Travel. United Airlines has plunked down $3 billion for 15 of Boom Technologies' Overture aircraft. The jets, to be ready in 2029, will fly twice as fast as conventional aircraft, making trips to Tokyo from San Francisco 6 hours long. That's crazy. And London to Newark, 3.5 hours, while Overture craft fly faster than the defunct Concorde. The new planes will also break the sound barrier only over the ocean and operate out of coastal airports. Fascinating. Denver. And of course, it's a coastal airport, but they're based in Denver. Interesting. I'm sure they have operations elsewhere, but that will cost, says that will cost about 75% less to operate, use fully sustainable aviation fuel, and zero net carbon emissions. That is what they call a trifecta. I don't know if this is for real or if that's even something that's possible. It sounds really fascinating to me. I don't know. Maybe you guys want to take a look at that. If a company gets an infusion of capital, $3 billion, of course, I think that plane they're showing there is the Concorde, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if they did that on purpose or not, because that doesn't look like it's not the same aircraft. Anyhow, but the idea here is when you see a company that has just got an infusion of capital, $3 billion, do you think they might be hiring people in support of that effort? That by 2029, what is that? It's going to take 8 years to build and deploy this aircraft with testing and development and all that. Do you think they'd be hiring people during that time to make these things a reality? Probably. And so if you had skills of that kind and you had interest in supersonic travel, I think that would be fascinating. That'd be great work to have. So that said, if you have any questions about your career, if you want to come on and get some live coaching, of course, put your questions in the chat. I'm happy to answer. It comes through the Restream system. You can see it on the screen. If you don't want your questions in the chat, maybe send me a direct message on LinkedIn, I suppose. That works. And I can answer it that way. Or you could come in. There is a link in the description, regardless of the platform. And you could come in, don't put your name in and just say anonymous. You can put any questions you want into the private chat. And I will provide you an answer with that. Good. And also, if you want to share your LinkedIn profile in the chat, this is how people get to know you and members of this community get to cross-pollinate. Because here's the thing. We know that networking is already a challenge. I think I probably don't have to tell you that. Networking is a challenge. It's a lot of work, and having an easy way to, how would you say, lubricate that process, remove any friction. What we're trying to do in this community is make everybody accessible to everybody else. So if you want access to Leif, he put his link in the chat. If you want access to Teresa, I'm sure she would be open. There's other people here in this particular session today, and I'm sure they would be open. I guess they would just have to tell us who they are so we could see that there's, not a whole lot of people here at the moment. And we may call it at 3:30 here Pacific time so that we can get on with the weekend or whatever it is we have going on. So if you would, please humor me, put some questions in the chat. If you have anything at all, I'm happy to answer. Please, 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 please. Questions in the chat. Otherwise, we'll sign off. You could come on, get some live coaching. Of course, share this production out with anybody that you know. And maybe we could get more people involved, engaged in this little thing called Career Cocktail Hour, as Terry Smith calls it, who is now, by the way, I think through lots of time, energy, and effort, working on some really interesting consulting engagements. So it sounds like really good fun for him. All right. I don't see any questions, so we will call it for next week. Come up with some questions. Send them on to me in advance if you like, or if there's something that you see and you want to get some feedback on it, by all means, make it a topic of the session each Friday, that you provide some kind of information that you'd like to know or learn or understand better. And maybe we'll see you next Career Happy Hour. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.